we're going to move on to question number 4. Questions 4 and 5 are going to be new types of questions. It says here, if sine of theta, which is unknown to us, is equal to 2 square root of 5 over 5, and this unknown theta is between pi over 2 and pi, what is cosine of that theta? So let's break this down. It says here that this unknown theta is going to be between pi over 2 and pi. So that tells me that this theta is going to be somewhere in quadrant 2. And here, we're going to have a coordinate here for which we actually know the y value. It's going to be 2 square root of 5 over 5. How are we supposed to use this to find the x value? Well, there are two ways to do this. We're going to start by drawing the right triangle. We're going to find out theta, and here for this reference angle, we're going to use theta prime. Oops. Since sine represents opposite over hypotenuse, you can say that in one triangle, you could say the hypotenuse is 5 and the opposite side is 2 square root of 5. And you might be saying, Mr. An, well, you said the radius had to be 1 for a unit circle, and you could do that. It doesn't matter which triangle you use, because in both triangles, sine value as a ratio of opposite over hypotenuse is going to be 2 square root of 5 over 5 regardless of which triangle you use. So it doesn't really matter. For simplicity's sake though, I'm going to use the first triangle. Here they ask what is cosine of theta. Well, cosine of theta, in this case, is going to be the same thing as cosine of theta prime. And cosine of theta prime is going to be the adjacent side over the hypotenuse. We already know the hypotenuse. We now just need to figure out the adjacent. How do you figure out an adjacent? Well, you have a right triangle, and you know two sides. So what do? Well, we're going to use the Pythagorean theorem. So a squared plus b squared, which we don't know, equals c squared, which is the hypotenuse. 2 square root of 5 squared is going to be 2 times 2, which is 4, and square root of 5 times square root of 5, which is 5. So that's going to be 20. Plus b squared equals 25. So b squared is equal to 5, and b is plus or minus square root of 5. Now, a distance cannot be negative. It must be positive. So b is square root of 5. Now that we know this value is square root of 5, we go back to original cosine of theta prime. Adjacent side to that theta prime is now square root of 5, and my hypotenuse is 5. So my x-coordinate is this. Just keep in mind that we are in the negative x-axis, so this value here is negative. So my answer is negative square root of 5 over 5.